The purpose of this talk is to stress the importance of the ego and the spirit connection. Our ego, along with our five senses, is a part of us that tunes us into the three-dimensional frequency range. Our ego is a conglomeration of thoughts about ourselves, about our relationships with others, and about our view of the world. Our ego forms our self-image. The ego is a part of us that identifies with our physical body. The ego is what makes us think we are our body. On the surface level, the ego has convinced us that we are all separate beings. But on a deeper spiritual level, everything is connected. Now, when it comes to all of the different beliefs associated with spirituality and religion, the one basic fact that can never be denied is the fact that our physical body will only exist for a temporary amount of time. So then, the question becomes, do we have some other type of permanent existence that will survive the death of our physical body? I'm sure you have heard that everything, including us, is energy. And energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. So if our basic core existence is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, might there be a connection between this basic fact and a well-known spiritual belief which states that we are actually eternal spiritual beings having a temporary human experience? There are many documented cases of those who have had near-death experiences. These people reported leaving their body at the time they thought they were dying. All of these people reported that when they left their body, they were drawn towards a brilliant, bright, white light. And upon reaching the light, they were told that it was not their time, so eventually they found themselves back in their body. So what was it exactly that left their body? Some said it was their consciousness. Some said they thought it was their spirit. And still others said it was their soul. I have also heard terms like light body, dream body, and astral body. Personally, I believe all of these names are merely different terms for the same creative force that brought everything into existence. Some of these people have written books about their near-death experience, and most of them said the experience helped them to overcome their fear of death. They also reported that when they entered the light, they felt an enormous and overwhelming, intense love energy that they intuitively sensed comes from God. I also believe this love energy comes from God, and I believe that on a deep subconscious level, we have a connection with this love energy throughout our entire life. The reason I believe this so strongly is because I have felt this sacred love energy deep within myself. This experience is associated with the spiritual awakening that is currently taking place on this planet. So what blocks us from feeling this love energy on a regular basis, you might ask? Well, according to my spiritual sources, it is our over-identification with the ego. We have allowed our ego to convince us that we are our physical body, when in fact, we are the eternal life force temporarily residing inside of the body. The ego's inability to remember and to feel its spiritual connection to the source far too often causes the ego to identify more with fear and pain than with love. Conflict in relationships, school shootings, gang violence, abusing power, terrorism, war, and all of the other harmful acts that spiritually disconnected egos commit against each other are caused by this mental state of forgetfulness and the inability to feel God's love from within. The ego wants to be in charge. The ego wants to run things. But when the ego's intelligence is not backed by spiritual wisdom, we just might end up with a bunch of confused and misguided, spiritually disconnected egos running around on the planet, blaming each other for all of the world's problems. The solutions to our problems have to come from within. Now, I'm not saying that the ego in and of itself is a bad thing, but when the ego has lost sight of its connection with its spiritual source, it spends most of its time groping for fulfillment in all of the wrong places and in all of the wrong things. The most important place that a spiritually disconnected ego forgets to look for fulfillment is within. Haven't we been told that the kingdom of heaven lies within us? We have to silence our mind, turn inward, and listen. It's true that some of us have more intense life challenges than others, but our life challenges are actually for soul growth purposes. And the objective is to push us back into ourselves so that we will learn how to trust our spiritual inner guidance. We can choose fear, which is generated by the ego, or we can choose love, which comes from God. When our ego is connected to its spiritual source, it will receive a constant, ongoing inner supply of God's love. And through all of us, love will be projected back out into the world. We are currently in the process of connecting the ego to the spirit. It is known as the spiritual awakening. Our major life purpose is to wake up and remember our connection to our spiritual source. And then we will become what we are meant to be, clear channels of light for the perfect expression